Okay, here we go. This is actually my third time trying this because for whatever reason the GoPro doesn't want to be nice with me. This is supposed to be my one and only motovlog, I guess. And as you can see, this is a new to me bike for the summer. Well, summer's done at this point. I've had this bike for a couple months now and I just didn't end up making a video on it. And now I'm actually selling it already, so so I thought I might as well do one of these before I get rid of it, because motovlog is probably one of the first things I got into on YouTube, like many years ago. Kind of stopped. I'm watching probably like maybe one or two riders now on YouTube, but it was one of the first things I really got into before even like cars and stuff. But then it kind of died out for me because I couldn't really get a bike at that point. But I finally did this year, and I'm just gonna be heading down there to the city area. It might be a little more interesting than down here. I'm gonna find a spot to stop and just give a little overview of the bike. It's nothing fancy, but it is my first bike, so I had pretty good fun with it, and I'm sad to see it go, but it is definitely a bike that you get a bit bored of pretty quick. So I'm gonna find a nice open lot to get into, but hopefully this works out this time, because every time I do it, I come home, check the clips, and the first time the clips were there, but they were corrupted or something because I couldn't open them on the computer. I don't know what is up with that. Yeah, that was a little awkward way because I had my hand on the clutch. So this time I got my phone over here on the GoPro app, so it tells me if it's recording or not, which I should have done the first few times, but I mean, it's never done that to me before, so I don't know what's up. I'm wondering if it's the fact that I'm on the bike. It's the first time I'm using it on the bike, so I don't know, for some reason, if it's like the vibrations or something that's making it freak out. I'm literally running a mic through my phone, and I have my earphone mic taped inside my helmet because I wasn't planning on doing this multiple times. This was supposed to be a one-shot thing because I'm running the wire out of my helmet through my t-shirt into my phone that's in my pocket, or my other phone. I have a phone here, but I got another phone in my pocket. Other thing I did was I turned it down to 30 frames, so it's gonna suck a little more visually, but I was just wondering if for some reason the 60 frames was just really bad for it. According to my phone, camera's still going, so that's good. All right, let me just open up the helmet. This right here is a 2017 Ninja 300. It's actually the winter test edition, which I had no idea until I actually got it, and I was like trying to get insurance on it, and then the broker was like, oh, it's because I gave him the VIN number, and I guess that tells you what it is. And he was like, oh, the winter test one? I was like, winter? That doesn't make sense for a bike, but apparently it is. So the winter test edition is literally the same bike with the decals on it, which I'm not a huge fan of. I would rather have it full black, but whatever. And then it has these OEM frame sliders, which is pretty cool because I wanted that just in case too. Never had to use it, which is good. Other than that, I think it has not an aftermarket, but the special edition comes with the extended windshield as well, but it's not tinted. So this is aftermarket from the previous owner because I bought this used. Has this aftermarket exhaust. No clue what it is. Pretty sure just off of eBay or Amazon because there's no logos on it. It's alright. I mean, I don't really care for the sound of these things anyway. I think I learned that the 2 cylinders are just not as cool as a 4. And other than that, it's pretty much the same bike. It's just a Ninja 300. Like I said, I got this a few months ago, so I think I got it in April. And it's been about 4 or 5 months with it. I think I had a decent amount of fun. I actually got my full license with this bike as well. Nothing I'm going to say is anything new, but I thought I might as well talk about something. And I was going to talk about how I ended up choosing this bike as my first bike. So I'm going to start riding, and I'll just kind of go through the whole process of how I ended up with this bike. Also, I think one of these cars in this parking lot is a bait car, like the cops used to see if anyone kind of tries to steal it, because there's usually cops sitting right down there where there's no one right now, but I don't know if they're continuously watching or not, but there's usually a bait car in this lot. I guess there's some stuff happening. Oh, there's cops there. Let's go see. So this was my first bike, and it's a 300cc, obviously, by the name. And it wasn't my first choice. I'm definitely like a believer of not needing to start on a small bike. And also, this bike is not like small or slow by any means. Like in general, as a vehicle, it is not slow. It's just slow compared to other bikes, because I feel a person who has never ridden a bike has that idea based on like what people say, calling these slow. It's a pretty quick thing. Like, it's not like you're riding at bicycle speeds. Like, this thing has, I think, 0 to 60 of like 5 something, maybe high 5s, low 6s, and that is pretty quick for like a regular car. Like, you don't see a lot of cars that can do that. I mean, maybe now 2022 is a lot of faster things, but it is not super slow by any means. And so I just want to start off saying that, you know, you're not gonna feel like you're like riding a bicycle down the street or anything. What is this? Oh, like these guys who are going to slow down traffic and not even watch where they're going. Oh, is there like a bike ride today? Interesting. I never knew they do those around here. And I guess they got cops guiding it. Does this guy not know what a bike lane is? Dude, I can't talk and concentrate on not hitting cyclists right now, okay? These guys are like all over the place. Like I was saying, this bike is not extremely slow, so I don't want anyone to also underestimate them. But like I said, I'm a believer in not needing to start on these bikes. I think it depends on the person, as in, like, are you a more, you know, confident person and a responsible person at the same time? Which I believe I am. Like, I would have honestly started on at least a 500, if not a 600. And the only issue that kind of stopped me from doing that was the fact that insurance is horrible for my age and my area. So insurance, even on regular cars, is not that good in this area. I also didn't have my full license. In my area, we actually have to go through 3 levels of licenses, and I only had my second one, and that was because on your third, you actually have to own your own bike. For the first 2 tests, you don't need to. First one is just like the written test to kind of get your initial permit. Second test is actually done in a parking lot, like an obstacle course, where I'm sure that's pretty common everywhere. And then the last one is actually on the street. You actually have to have your own bike and your own insurance and all that. So that's why I actually had my second license like 4 or 5 years ago. Never ended up buying a bike because of the pricing and whatever, and I didn't actually even have a car at that point. And so my second one was about to expire because I could only stay with that for 5 years before you have to do your test. Yeah, so my 5 years was coming up. I had to do the test, otherwise I would have lost my license and I would have had to start the whole process again. And this guy is what? He doesn't know his signal is on the other direction. As of now, the plan is, I do want to get a bike because I'm having a bunch of fun, but I definitely want to get something bigger and faster and actually more comfortable. I kind of realized the sport bike thing is not for me. I mean, I obviously like speed, but I'm not too much into going fast down the highway, you know. I'd rather have something I can do a little more longer trips in, because that's what I kind of was using this bike for. And oh god, I think I almost kind of ran the light there. I may have ran that red light, and I'm hoping the cop didn't see, because I was paying attention to the cyclists and all the other cars rather than the light. So now that I knew I wanted to get a bike, I pretty much, after, you know, figuring out the pricing and the insurance, I knew I had to get a 250 or a 300, and I decided I had to get 300 anyway, because the 250s now are kind of old at this point, so the 300s have actually come down in price. Because when I first got my license, the 250s were kind of all over the market, and 300s were like just, you know, becoming used, at least like the used prices and stuff. So at that point I was gonna get a 250 because of the price. And now that 300s are pretty much the same price, and most companies don't even make the 250s anymore. Once I knew I had to get a 300, it was more of which 300, and I knew I was going to use this for work a lot. To get to work, I need to use the highway. So this kind of comes down to the main downside of these bikes. Other than not having like supercar type acceleration, which is not like needed for most people, the downside to at least a sport bike in the 300cc range is that the gearing is short, because it's a sport bike, so they want to make it fast, but they only got 300cc to do it. And the way they kind of do that is by dropping the gears and maybe a little bit with the tune, and you end up with a bike that doesn't do highway that well, depending on obviously what speed I'm going. The bike ends up, you know, cruising at like 8,000 RPM. I mean, it's a bike, they're meant to go higher than cars, but cruising at that for like hours, I mean, it's not hours to my work, but if I'm doing a ride or something, it gets a little annoying. It's also uncomfortable. Like this bike, you know, once it's up there, it's vibrating a little bit. And then also at that point, you don't have much acceleration. It's 6th gear at highway speeds. You kind of lose acceleration. It's not horrible like I think some people describe it to be. I think it just feels bad once you're already used to a faster bike, and then you come back down to this. You know, you feel like you're missing all that power, but it's not the worst thing in the world. It'll do everything a faster bike can do, or it can go anywhere a faster bike can go. It just, you'll have to think a little bit more in terms of like dropping your gear to get that acceleration, and then the comfort on highway with all the vibration and stuff. And then as soon as I got on the highway and got comfortable in like a couple days, I realized how a faster bike would actually be helpful. Not just to go fast because I want to go fast, just like usability would actually be so much more nicer with a faster bike. That being said, picking a 300 is honestly fairly easy. You don't have that much choice. The main 3 ones are out there, which are the Ninja 300, then you have the CBR 300 and the Yamaha R3. So even though they're called 300s, I think the Honda CBR is it's 200 and maybe 80 something or 290, but either way, out of the 3, it's the lowest and the slowest. Then second is the Ninja 300, also under 300cc, and finally is the R3, which is actually above 300cc. I actually wanted the R3 because I would pretty much have to pay insurance as a 300cc. I wanted the biggest 300 I could get, and that guy is not even like on this side. Anyway, I was about to buy one, but the seller flaked on me. He was supposed to come drop it off at my house and then never showed up. And then I saw this thing for sale at a really good price, and the kilometers are pretty damn low, so I knew I didn't have to do any work to it, or like pretty much it would be ready to ride. And I knew I would be selling it soon. And honestly, if you're getting one of these 3 bikes, you'll have no issue selling it anyway. It's so popular that like there'll always be another buyer for it. You're never going to be in an issue where like if you buy it, you hate it, and then like no one's buying it off you. You'll pretty much always get the exact same value you bought the bike for. I mean, if you're buying used. If you're buying new, obviously you're going to lose some money there initially. But as a used bike, I'm expecting to get exactly the amount I paid for it, or even more, because I actually got a really good deal on this. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I know there's a lot of beginner videos out there talking about what bike to get, but I thought I'd add one more opinion, because when I was looking for a bike, I was trying to look as many opinions as possible so I could kind of get as much, I guess, confirmation that I'm making the right decision. The plan is, if I find something within a reasonable price range that I'm okay with, I'm gonna get a new bike, and then maybe I can make another single vlog with that one. But this thing is going for now. This was just nice to try something new for once, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna miss this bike. It was fun. I'm happy I at least got this video. And if any new riders are watching this, you know, ride safe, have fun, and it was a pretty cool experience for me with this Ninja 300.